Hello, Doctor Who fans across the world. We have got a cracking show for you today. On our little podcast, I am joined not only by my good friend Geoff, but also by Doctor Who royalty. We have Bhavnisha Parmar with us tonight. Hello, Bhavnisha.
Hello. How are you guys? Thank you for that wonderful introduction.
Good.
I love it. I love the energy.
Right. Yeah, that's as good as it gets, to be honest. It's all downhill from there.
I felt like musical instruments or something was going to start coming out. Or
maybe we'll add that in the edit. Yeah, put it in.
Just some like sound effects. And
it's amazing what you can do on Adobe Premiere Pro these days, isn't it? You know? It's like magic. It's magic. But so thank you so much for joining our podcast. I mean, we are suitably humbled and right royally honoured to have you take some time out of your very busy day to join us. And
thank you for having me. I appreciate it. And it's you guys are like so much fun. It's just good. Yeah, it's a joy. It's a joy just to like be able to chat to you guys and just let you know a little bit about my life as well. So
yes, indeed. Yes, we will do the scoop.
It's almost like we scripted things there, because that leads us on to our first question, which is introduce yourself and tell us a bit about yourself.
Oh yeah, sure. Okay, so where do we start? So at 1 year old, now I'm joking. You start at the very beginning. So I was basically trained in acting. I did kind of 3 years at university, then I did a year at drama school, and I was actually, and if you can hear it a little bit today, you might be able to, you might not. I'm actually originally from the Midlands, so I was born there in Birmingham. Yes, it will come out every now and again. Yeah, it definitely will. But yes, I was born in Birmingham and lived there till I was about 18. Yeah. Then I moved to Leeds for a few years, and that's where I studied, and that was absolutely awesome. I literally absolutely just had such a good time in Leeds. The north is brilliant.
Oh, Leeds is great. I love Leeds.
And then
it's not as good as Huddersfield, but it's a very close second.
I did go to Huddersfield a couple of times.
Did you?
There was a mate of mine who was we had a couple of mates, Sheffield, Huddersfield, Manchester, so we kind of used to go to all the kind of places. Yeah. And that was like kind of a few years there, and then I really wanted to move to London. I think with being creative and wanting to do the arts and stuff, I really wanted to be in London. So I tried for a year to move to London, and then I did that thing where I ran out of money, and then I went back to Birmingham for a little while, and then I kind of thought, no, I want to do this properly. So I set myself up with the agents that I wanted to be with, and got meetings, and then I landed an agent, and I thought, right, okay, now is the time to properly move and do my stuff. So I did, and then I've been here ever since. So like 7 years now, I've been in London. Yeah. And then through that time, I basically did. So when I was kind of like at drama, just after drama school, I was actually introduced to kind of radio and radio drama and audio drama. That was kind of quite new then. Audio drama, I think, was before kind of audiobooks took off. And I really got into it. That's how I kind of got into voiceover at that point. But it was always kind of an underlying thing for me. It wasn't really something I was, wanting to go for, because I really wanted to go, into screen, and that's what I wanted to do. So I worked on that for like a good few years, and then voiceover and presenting was kind of happening in the background, and and that's kind of it. That's kind of my work kind of element. That's a lot. But just kind of a bit about me. I'm pretty much just kind of like your everyday girl. I'm quite goofy. I like to think I'm funny. I like to think I'm funny.
I like to think I'm funny as well. Nobody else agrees with me, sadly.
And if no one laughs, I just pretend it was just.
Yeah, it's just like whatever. Yeah. You weren't meant to laugh. Yeah.
I'm cool. But and then I was born or kind of brought up in a very Indian household. So I'm kind of Hindu. I'm Hindu Gujarati, so that's my kind of religion and my language. So so very very kind of like East meets West kind of household I was brought up in, which was really nice. And a lot of people ask me, were your parents supportive and of you doing the arts and stuff? And I'm like, they really were, and they kind of really encouraged me to do whatever I wanted to do.
Fantastic.
So that's kind of a bit about me. I don't know if I've missed anything.
No. I think that's pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Right there. Actually. Very concisely told.
The whole
Literally the whole lot. Yeah.
Sorry, just reading off my notes there. That's kind of my usual introduction that I do for myself. But no, yeah.
So was VO your kind of way into the? So I mean, you mentioned it wasn't the main thing that you wanted to do. So was it just like a sort of, I won't say hobby because obviously you're earning from it and things like that.
Yeah.
But...
Well, I just make a comment there that, you know, people like you, Bhav, who act, also present as well and do a bit of VO work, because it's all quite closely related, isn't it? And as you probably know, it can be hard to kind of sustain the work, in that sort of thing initially anyway. But by being able to act on something and then present on something and possibly do a voiceover as well, it's more strings to your bow, isn't it? And it broadens your opportunities for work, basically, doesn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And I think like, if I really look at it, like, that's how I think I got into, earning from VO. And it was more because of the two things, actually. One, the agency that I was with had a whole voiceover section and a presenting section.
Oh, right.
So they introduced me to that. And I was like, wow, you have agents for voiceovers? Like, I was really new to it all. And they actually taught me what everything was, which was great. And then the second fold was that when I was working with companies, I realized, oh yeah, a company doesn't just do, on screen. They do everything. They do voiceover, they do presenting.
There's a lot for that. Yeah,
exactly. And then I think once I started to learn that, and then kind of put myself out there for those things, and got reels together or whatever it might be, I was like, oh yeah, you can actually earn from all three. And yeah, basically what you said, Geoff, like, sometimes I get a call from the company and they'll say, hey, look, you're on, would you like to do something on screen this week? And then a few weeks later it might be a VO. So you then kind of then start to work with them a lot more. And I love that, because then you're working with them quite a lot and you get to know the companies you work with. It's not just like a fleeting kind of job that you do and then you don't meet them again or see them again. So yeah.
Yes, it's nice to build up that kind of ongoing relationship, isn't it, and become the kind of face and voice of something as well. And I think also, because I know quite a few people who they've wanted to get into acting, and but it's proven difficult. And like you said, you went to London for a bit and then had to move back and things, and so people would often kind of give up at that point. I think, but you've got that kind of drive to carry on. But by getting say the VO work, you're in the business and in the industry doing it. And it means you don't have to be at Sainsbury's or something like that. So, it's, and that's not saying it's like that kind of, Saturday job or something, because it's not at all, but it's it's what gets you going and doing it properly whilst being able to then kind of work towards other avenues of it as well.
Yeah, 100%. And I did the same thing as well when I first started. I had so many kind of side jobs. And in the end, I kind of decided to do a side job that I thought would be quite cool and like, probably like, what's the word? Just kind of help me learn more about what I was doing. So I started adminning for a production company, and basically I used to work for them like kind of 2 days a week, doing kind of ad hoc jobs, and like it might be something like setting up a casting, it might be like going through profiles, contacting people, like it was really kind of random bits of stuff, coming with them on set to do maybe some running work. And it really helped me to understand what world I wanted to be in and what I wanted to do. And I thought that was really good, because I made that decision of being like, okay, I did work in retail for a while whilst I did it, but actually doing a job in the industry you want to go in, whatever that might be, you know, it's really, really important, because you do meet people and you do learn things. And then when you go and do a job, you're like, oh yeah. And naturally you've just kind of picked things up that help the other person. So yeah.
And I was at Sainsbury's at the petrol station, what pump you on and stuff like that. And, but by doing like Bhav did, getting her voiceover work, and it's not a part-time thing at all, is it? But it's industry, but it's allowing you then to focus fully on it whilst still whilst in it, rather than, well, can I get this shift off and all that kind of stuff. And so to get that kind of foot in the door like that and build from it is so important. And I think a lot of people don't make it because that doesn't happen for them.
Yeah, and I was just saying off the back of that, that's kind of one thing I decided to do. I got a job at like a production company, and I was just working for them remotely for like 2 days, doing random things like their admin, going through castings, like setting up castings and stuff like that. And it was quite tedious, but you got to do things where you realized what the production was about.
So you learn all the time.
Yeah, all the time. And also just about what helps people. So when you go on set, you're like, oh, okay, I understand, like, just even small terms and, things to do. I think it's really, really important. So,
when I used to run on stuff on adverts, it was similar really, Bhav. And I worked at a production company for a while, and I remember one of my jobs was watching, what's that car? Brum, do you know the little car?
Oh, Brum. I know Brum.
Yes. Yeah.
I had to watch hours of Brum to pick out sound bites like him going woohoo or whatever, so that they could use it in adverts when it would say out now on DVD, and he'd go woohoo, and that was what he was supposed to do. But then through that, I got to go on some shoots, and I met Daniel Bedingfield when he was cool, and then I went to adverts and worked on sets and stuff, and like you say, you to start to learn things, and but also observing people and how not to behave and how to behave, on set, because you see quite a lot of that as well.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, it's quite a good, a good kind of grounding for how to shape yourself, kind of going forward. So, would you say you're most kind of known at the moment for your VO work and?
I'd say so. I'd say the first thing people obviously do say is about Doctor Who, but that's because I guess my face was on screen and it's obviously such a massive show. But I would definitely push myself kind of forward as a VO, yes, because I think probably like 90% of the week I'm using my voice, as part of my job, like fully using my voice, and it's something that I really enjoy, because the one thing for me is I think over the last couple of years, especially, I've started working in different genres. So it's not just, your corporates and commercials, but it's everything to do with, campaigns or, small things on the radio, larger kind of radio commercials. It might be IVR or recently I've done, a couple of video games and stuff like that. And so I'm really kind of getting into, and radio drama. I love audio and radio drama. So for me, getting into all of that stuff, and then getting to know that kind of wider network of people, because it is quite small, even though VO is like, it's massive. It's quite still a small community of people. So, you start getting to see the same directors, the same productions and stuff again. So which is great. So you kind of circle around everybody. But I think with the things that I've done for VO as well, I think I feel like I might be, and that's probably because I push it more as well. Just put myself out there as a VO more. So
and it is acting as well, isn't it? Because it's not just about delivering lines,
flexing those muscles still.
It's not just delivering lines in a nice voice, which of course you're brilliant at, but it's about putting that that light and dark and shadow in it, and changing the emotion and adding more to it. And then of course when you do audio drama work, it is full on acting for it. So, I think people maybe think that VO is just like doing trailer voiceover or something, but it's not. It's more than that. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say I agree with you. It's I'd say it's definitely more about acting than anything else, because and it's harder sometimes as well, because you're in the booth and you've got nobody there, and you've just got a script, and you've got to create everything. You've got to create the whole world, the people you're talking to. Even sometimes, like, if the directors are kind of giving it over to you, or they're giving you a lot of direction down the line, and you've got 4 or 5 people talking to you, you've got to kind of bring that all together, and then, just with your voice,
and you've got there's obviously no visual behind it to kind of help, back up the emotion and things. So it's all completely down to the voice. So it's quite challenging, I think, isn't it?
It is.
A couple of years ago, I was doing quite a bit of work with auto cue, and I thought, this is pretty easy. I'm going to have a go at this, and it turns out it's not pretty easy at all. So like doing VO work, and because Paul, I'll let you in on a secret here. Paul did some voiceover work on a project we did a couple of years ago.
That's because I was free.
Yeah. And you sounded just like an elastic band that we needed for it, didn't you?
I did, yeah. I channeled my best ever Tom Baker, which I'm not going to do now. That's I need much more fluid before I start attempting that one. That's for sure.
So, what projects have you done VO work for? What can you tell us about? Because I know you've got some top secret stuff at the moment.
So the video game that I've worked on is a little bit under the radar at the moment, but that's going to be
drafted NDAs.
I think
no.
that will come out in the summer. I'm not sure because they're going through the round of pickups and stuff. So that's something else. But obviously, I work as a calm narrator, so that's something I do quite a lot or quite often. It's one of the most enjoyable, honestly, jobs that I have. So you basically do their sleep stories, which is 30-minute stories. But even them, like, when you listen back, there is so much that goes behind them in terms of the way you record, so that you're essentially allowing somebody to go to bed. There's a lot behind that. So calm. I believe, yes, if you ring Apple in India, and then if you choose the English, yes, if you choose the English language, I'm the one who does the Indian accent. So that is my second face, as it were. So I do a lot of Indian accented work. So that's another big one I've had. I recently did the Revolut commercial on TV, which was a cool one. There's another one that I'm doing next week, which again I'm not allowed to talk about. And then there's loads of different things. But
have you ever done a VO for something that you've then forgotten about and randomly heard somewhere and been like, I recognise that?
That rings a bell.
Yes, I think I have. I did, because I did a lot of podcast intros, like when I was working as well. So I did a lot for Acast and stuff like that. So sometimes I'm listening to a podcast and it'll be like Acast recommends, and then I'm like, oh, that's me.
That's me.
So, but like, so I think there's a few bits and bobs like that, maybe like a few radio commercials and something like that. But yeah, I don't think there's been anything that I've been like, whoa. In Screen there has been.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Screen there has been like where there's like a small advert randomly just pops up, and I'm like, oh, I remember that. So yeah,
rings a bell.
There was a story a couple of years ago when Paul Bettany did the voice of Iron Man's suit in the first film, and he forgot all about it, and because he said, I spent a day in the booth, and that was it. And then I think he went to watch it with his kid, and he was like, I recognise that voice. And then he went, oh, I did this.
I did this. Yeah.
He'd completely forgotten about it.
I'll have to watch out for that. I'll have to see if there is anything that just randomly pops up, and I'm like, okay, that's me.
Yeah.
So, Bhav, you said you've got something coming up on the BBC Asian network soon. So, would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, of course. So, BBC Asian Network, obviously one of the largest radios that kind of fuses together Indian, Bollywood, Pakistani, just all different kind of flavors of music, and something I grew up with quite a lot when I was younger and in the family and stuff. So what they're doing is they did like they brought on 12 new presenters and gave them each kind of a month on the radio for a slot to basically just do whatever,
like a trial sort of thing, or just
like a trial,
like an open door kind of.
Yeah, and actually, so the guy who runs BBC Asian Network, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And he's basically just like, look, this is me giving you the reins of just saying, do what you want for those hours.
Oh, wow.
Show yourself, bring yourself. I want you to bring your music, your flavor, whatever it is. And obviously within the confines of BBC.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's it. It's a really, really exciting opportunity, and I'm the last one for this run. Basically, I'm number 12. So just watching everybody do their shows before has been super amazing. Like everybody's like either they've brought their own kind of culture to it, or they're just different interests in music, whatever it might be. And and so what I'm doing is it's Sunday 9 till 11 every Sunday in February. So that's basically it, and that's that. I don't want to kind of give too much away about it, but it's just going to be bringing kind of like, I kind of want to just bring this, this vibe at the moment. Like I'm quite a bubbly, kind of energetic person. I'm kind of very much about well-being, and that's one thing I want to really bring to it. So just de-stressing everybody and just feeling good, like listen to music that just makes you feel good. So
I think we could all do with a bit of that after the last couple of years, couldn't we?
Yes, indeed, and maybe even it has been. So I think it's just especially Sunday night, it's a really nice slot actually, because everyone's kind of getting ready for work again, and they just want to chill out, and they put the kids to bed, and they might be cooking, or they're working out, they're doing something before they're going to bed, and it's just something to start off the week in a good way. So
what time did you say it was?
9 till 11.
9 till 11. Oh, that's a good slot.
9 till 11. It's nice.
Going out live, or was it a pre-record?
Well, I'm hoping to obviously do everything live, but with COVID at the moment, and especially with the BBC right now, I think they're only letting people in who really need to go into the offices. So it's a bit of a shame, but they are good. They do want to bring me in to do. They want me to at least be able to record the shows in BBC Asian Network.
That'd be good.
and then at least put them out. But we're doing it so conversationally that we've got everything there where we're kind of sliding in the music, and so it kind of feels like it's live, but it's just all captured, I suppose. So yeah, I guess in some respects it's nice because it takes the pressure off having to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm doing it live is not the issue, but it allows you to kind of listen back to it in real time, so you can actually sit there on a Sunday and listen to yourself and go, oh yeah, okay, cool, that's how it sounded, that's I want to change that next week or whatever it might be. So yeah,
that sounds really good.
I'm looking forward to that one.
But before we get into Doctor Who, then I want to tell our listeners how Bhav and I completely randomly by chance met a couple of years ago. So
he hasn't told me this either.
Please do. Oh, this is new to you.
Go on
okay,
in, Geoff.
perfect.
Tell us, how did it happen?
I was in London filming some presenter showreel stuff, and we were in the middle of Soho and filming some stuff at a bunch of Boris bikes, I think, with this presenter who was being trained. And the people I was with, Sally and Vicky from Presenters Inc., give them a little shout out there because I know they listen. They were going up to people saying, "Would you like to come and answer a few questions? It's just training; it's not going anywhere." Blah blah. Bhav was walking along, and they went up because we always pick people who we think will be good on camera for this stuff, and so they obviously saw you and thought, "Oh yeah, she looks like she'll be good." And they were chatting to you while I was filming, and you said, "Well, I've done a bit of acting before," and they said, "Oh, what kind of stuff have you done?" You said, "Well, I was in Doctor Who recently," and Sally was like, "Geoff, she was in Doctor Who," and I was
Find a Doctor Who fan and bring him over. That's Geoff.
So it was completely random. 10 minutes later, you wouldn't have been there, we wouldn't have been there, whatever. And I guess because it was Soho, maybe you'd been to Soho Voices and been doing some work there or something.
Yeah, I came out one of the studios, I do remember. And funnily enough, actually, so obviously now we're talking about it, I took a wrong turn because I thought I could get to the station quicker going the way I'd walked out. And I think I remember when they did stop me, I was kind of looking down at my phone thinking, where am I going? Where am I going? And then I was okay, let's just take a moment, chill here, and I'll figure out where I'm going in a second. So it was kind of like how you said, it's kind of serendipitous, like you just walk around and then it's like, hello. So yeah. But it's such a funny story.
It is. It's so random. And I think we must have had our chat group, Paul, on Twitter. We got a Doctor Who Twitter group where we all chat about things and then I was like, oh, you guys are never going to guess who I just completely randomly met in the street. And then you popped up on LinkedIn sometime later, and you liked or commented on something that was a mutual contact, and I was like, oh, I recognise, and so I said hello and stuff, and so we've kind of been in touch since then. So
good old LinkedIn.
It's amazing. Who would ever have thought it? That's all good. So Bhav, how did big question right here then, how did Sonya Khan, the role of Sonya Khan, come your way? Go on, tell all.
Okay, so what actually happened was I went up for the role of Yaz, as did Mandip, who is a really great friend of mine. So brilliant girl. And obviously she'd been in kind of like Hollyoaks and stuff and that before. And I was I was kind of like new to the scene at that point. So I kind of look up to those guys quite a bit because they've been working, on TV for like years. And so I got a call from my agent, and they were basically just like, okay, you're going to go in for something. This is, quite big, but just relax, here's the script, whatever. Just went in. I just went in and I basically did the audition, and then I got a call back, and then I think I called back again, and then I did an audition with Jodie as well, so that was really cool. And then obviously I got the call, and then that's it. It went kind of quiet for a while, and they were like, obviously they're going to make their decision. So I think it was a couple of weeks later I got a call to basically just say, look, really sorry, you haven't got the role of Yaz. And I was obviously quite gutted. And then I got a call, I think it was just a little while later, and I was like, a little while down the line, and then they were like, but we'd really love you to have you for Sonya, Sonya Khan to play the sister. Brilliant. And I just thought, oh, this is brilliant. Like, I'm super happy. So and when you kind of feels right, like it just felt right. Like maybe Yaz was a bit too much of a bigger role for me at that point. Who knows? I don't know. I'm always one of those people that thinks about like things happen to you for a reason. So it was good for me and it was great. Like I still had all the experience of Doctor Who, and I was still able to work on, because I was working on quite a few other projects as well at that time. So I was still able to work on those as well as being part of the Doctor Who family. So it was like, it worked out really, really well in the end. So that's kind of how it came about.
Brilliant. That's great. So you said like you got the experience of working on Who. So what was it like being part of such a big show, not just in terms of it's kind of public kind of perception, but also on set and that whole machine that they've got down in Cardiff? And
it was honestly awesome. Like I said, I just said
Yeah.
Doctor Who. I just said Doctor Who family there, and I literally I mean it. Like everybody was just, it was like one big family. Like I can't explain it. It's such a big unit of people, but like every person knew every person's name, and every person knew what people liked. And there was like kind of like, especially before COVID when we were shooting, there was just like people would just chat whilst you're having breaks, and you'd be talking to the crew, you'd be talking to the camera guys, and and you would just have that banter, and it would literally just feel like one big family, and you don't feel then that pressure. And this was the first time I was on a big set. And the one thing that I remember, the first day that I went there, of course you're nervous, you're shown to a trailer, you're told to sit in there until you're needed, and as much as that's exciting, it was quite like, oh god, okay,
this is
what's happening. You just have to, you've got to kind of go with it, and like whatever anybody says, you just kind of do it, and go with that basically. But I remember when I first came on set, they basically, and they do this with everyone, and I think this is brilliant, they kind of just say, hey guys, we just wanted to, and they literally kind of call everyone together, and they're like, okay, we've got Bhav on set today. If everyone could just give Bhav like a massive hello, and then then they make you, so then, and everyone's like, hey Bhav, hey Bhav, hey Bhav, and then at least everybody knows you, and you feel like know everyone, and it's such a great way of just introducing yourself, because then you can go up to someone and start talking to them, and they know who you are, and you know who they are. So it's really
and that was literally like day one on the set, was it?
Day one on the set, and then like after that, they when you kind of come back again, and that was the beauty of it. Like, because with me, I was coming back every now and again, and every time you come back, you just feel like, oh, I know you guys. It's cool. Like, and even even from, as I said, everyone from ADs to second ADs to camera, DOPs, directors, whatever it might be, like everybody felt like a one big family, and I think that was just that was incredible.
And that was in that first series as well with Jodie. Sorry, Joe. Is that was it the first episode? The Woman Who Fell to Earth that you were in? It was, wasn't it? So everyone was kind of new then in the cast, I suppose, as well, weren't they? So everyone's kind of finding their feet.
Yeah, and I think it was just and the greatest thing is that I'd obviously met Jodie, before, because we had done an audition and stuff together. And like I remember when I first met her again, she was just like, oh hey, how you doing? And like she remembered me, and like brilliant. I just thought, oh wow, that and those kind of things is just they're the kind of things that really allow you to settle in. And then once you get settled and you get comfortable, everything else kind of just falls into place. So so it was definitely like a really good vibe.
You must have felt like you were walking on air or something, was you?
I did. I had to pinch myself a couple of times, and it was just really good to take it all in. And obviously there was Shobna was there as well, so she was one, playing my mum, and just basically being able to have conversations with those guys who have done years of like TV and theatre, and it's just great to be able to soak it all in. So
So do you remember what your first scene was that you shot?
The first scene we shot was the bit where I come in and I'm, when I basically just come in with a bit of attitude.
I like that. Sonya's like, feisty, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, that's one thing I liked about. I definitely liked about her. It's the kind of she's feisty, but there's something there. She cares about people, but she's definitely feisty and sassy.
She's likable, but there's quite a sisterly relationship, with Yaz, and it's it's a little bit kind of Mick take and stuff, but it's done with love, I think.
Yeah, and I wish we had time to explore that a little bit more, actually, because like I mean I'm quite close to my sister and our family as well, and it's just kind of like delving into that a little bit. It's quite nice when you see two sisters like kind of had the way they kind of grow up and under the kind of umbrella of their parents and stuff. So but that was the first scene. So it was me coming in going I think Dad basically said Yaz has bought a friend, and I'm like, oh, she's got a friend, has she? And obviously and she obviously realizes who it is and has a bit of a flirtatious kind of moment with him as well, which is hilarious. But so that was the first scene. I remember.
So when you were down in Cardiff, did you do an obligatory selfie on the TARDIS set?
No, I didn't.
Oh.
I should have maybe, but no, I didn't. I I didn't.
Big,
But
big
yeah, I
missed
mean,
off.
like, I mean, to be fair, like, I was one of those people who kind of like, and I don't know
Yeah.
whether this was a good or a bad thing, but I kind of like made a conscious effort to put my phone away when I was there because I just wanted to be
Yeah,
around
totally.
In
everybody
the
and
moment,
everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought if I was just on my phone, I wouldn't really be kind of interacting with everyone. So I did actually, I do remember a couple of times I kind of put it in my jacket and I just left it
Yeah,
in the kind of
yeah.
in the like breakout area, and I just kind of chatted to people and stuff. So yeah, maybe I should have. Oh,
But yeah,
regret.
but you're right. It's it's nice to kind of to get memories like that, but then actually to just be present in everything and
Yeah.
take it all in, and not just be
We
you know
we admittedly did take photos, like, I remember, like, after the first season wrapped and stuff, I think I was there
Yeah.
on one of the last days, and we did take photos of all the cast and, like, with Jodie and everyone, so they're, like, on my phone somewhere.
Yeah.
But, we didn't really, I don't think we did much else, so, yeah.
yeah. So what's the space down there like? It's massive, I guess, and
Yeah, it is. It's pretty big, and it's obviously quite beautiful as well because it's off just like the water. So I remember there was a couple of times where we shot, and we actually kind of like got dropped off a bit early, and then we just walked. Like me and Ram, who played the dad. We just basically we just walked, and it was really nice. But we only got into a section of it,
Yeah.
so we were only like obviously in a section of the whole kind of
Of the whole
studio, and
thing, right.
even that was like massive.
Mm.
But yeah, we just kind of had a route in and out of where we kind of went to the studio and then took a break at the trailer and then came back again. But if yeah, but it's big. It's big,
Yeah,
and Cardiff is a great place as well. Though
it's
it's just
Yeah,
a
it is.
really, it's a
Yeah,
really
yeah.
like welcoming, homely kind of place that getting out of London and going there was like a real treat. So yeah,
I went down a few years ago to shoot an opera quartet, and
Did you?
they sung at the the opera place there, and they'd got permission to shoot on on the causeway near where the Torchwood Tower is, and so we couldn't start till like 4 p.m. or something. So I said to Chris, who I was filming with, I was like, look, we're going to go down early because the Doctor Who museum is just across the. Oh, I don't really like
You
Doctor
worked that
Who.
into your itinerary.
I don't care. We went down early enough so I could go around the experience, which is not there anymore, and do that and then go filming. So that worked out quite nicely. But yeah, it is nice down there, isn't it? That whole kind
really is.
they've done it out really nicely there. So, how were the rest of the cast together? Do they all spend time together, or because you see, shows filming like Friends, for example, and you think, do they all hate each other? Do they get sick of each other?
He's after the inside scoop now on this one, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
they
like,
really
oh, we all
like
really
it.
hate each other.
Yeah,
No, we don't.
That's what it was
I
like
mean, do you know
family.
what? Completely the opposite. It is just that, again,
Brilliant.
I'll go back to the same thing. It is just
Yeah,
like family. And you'll always kind of have a little bit of, just a little bit of banter.
Yeah,
And like, you'll chat, you'll talk. You might just talk about the most mundane life things. I remember I came back one day, and so I think between two kind of sets of shooting, I'd gotten married in between,
right.
and Jodie was kind of like, oh, how was it all, and can I
yeah.
see pictures, and and it's just stuff like that. It's nice to, it's nice to kind of just have that, just feel completely relaxed. We all
Yeah,
just felt like a bunch of friends who, if you really wanted to go for some go to somebody for advice there as well, you probably could. No one was going to kind of so it kind of really welcoming, really really friendly. So
it has always come across like that in interviews and behind the scenes pictures and stuff, that they're all having a great time and enjoying each other's company, which is lovely. So we only saw you once in Flux recently, and I remember talking to you on LinkedIn, and I was like, oh, it's starting soon, do we think we might see you? And you were like, oh, I'm not sure. I can't say anything. So it was just the one bit, wasn't it? But
it was
It was a great one bit, though. It had me going, ah!
So was the Weeping Angel there when you were there?
It was great fun.
Well, I believe all of that was just, I mean, I believe it was. I mean, that scene was really fun to shoot because obviously me and Jodie kept like switching, so we had to kind of like do the scene in different bits, which was quite fun. But yeah, I mean, that is a pretty kind of terrifying scene in general, of just like staring and not blinking, and and obviously Mandip played that really well. But no, I don't know if I got to see that. No, I don't think I did. This was such a while ago now. It feels like such a long time ago.
I bet,
but I don't think I did. No, I didn't.
What was the filming conditions like? Because Flux was amazing, and the fact that we got anything shot at all during the restrictions of the pandemic. I mean, kudos to everyone involved, and the fact that it was so good. I mean, you mentioned earlier, like, you would have liked to have done, explored things with Yaz on screen a bit more, and Flux, like I said, was brilliant. It would have been nice to have had 10 episodes, instead of the 6, but what we got was amazing. But it would have been nice to see you more in it and things. But obviously, the world is what it was. But what was it like shooting in those conditions? For the stuff I do, I know it's been difficult sometimes.
Yeah,
you're on a much bigger scale there, and
it was obviously tough. Like, obviously before we went, we all made sure, like, I'd have to be tested here before I even left. And then unfortunately I didn't have the car, so they kindly kind of came to pick me up and then took me there. And obviously that was the safest way of doing it, so I wasn't interacting with people on the train, which is obviously awesome that I was still able to do that. And then I think it's just I think it was just about everybody being safe and cautious, that everyone was tested. And obviously testing at that time, I think it was big at that time, but it wasn't as like, oh my God, test. But everybody that's what they were really on. They're making sure that anybody had symptoms, obviously stay away. And I don't know, because I don't know the detail of if anyone obviously did fall ill, but I don't think they did.
No, we
the whole thing.
Anything. No. So.
Exactly. So, but it's just about, as I said, being sensible. And even before I knew I was going to go and shoot, I like literally stayed indoors for like a good 5 or 6 days. Like, if I didn't need to go anywhere, if I was just going to go shopping and then come back, I would. But I think everybody took that kind of, because like, I think everyone was working for the show. Everyone wanted episodes. They wanted to, be able to
did their
shoot and film.
Mm.
So I think everyone did make sacrifices to make sure and just kept themselves safe. So
and we were so grateful for for all of it. Okay, so I want to stay on Doctor Who for a bit, but talk about Big Finish. And Keira. So,
Keira Sanstrom.
why don't you, for anyone who's listening who doesn't know, why don't you give us your elevator pitch about Timejacked?
Oh God, elevator pitch. Am I going for like the experience that I had with? No, I'm joking. I feel like, so obviously Timejacked is a story that's basically written by Big Finish, who do a lot of all of the Doctor Who audio series. And I was just super lucky to basically, funnily enough, I knew the director, Helen, who was working on it. She knew of me. And then the opportunity must have come around to cast Keira. And then what happened then was she was like, oh my God, you're in Doctor Who. This is just too coincidental. We're going to bring you on board. And then that's basically obviously what happened. But Timejacked is obviously just the story of following a Capaldian, just, basically like those guys basically. It's almost like me playing Yaz in an audio drama. Almost. It's almost like I've almost got fulfilled the whole idea of companion. But she's the kind of, she's the companion role, but she's also the quirky kind of like quite, in comparison to kind of other companions, she's quite feisty, and she's very actually saying that a lot of the companions are.
And when we first meet her, she literally abducts the Doctor from
she just
St. Luke's University,
and she's just kind of like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Were you using that? Because I was just I'm just having fun here. So she's very feisty, very kind of witty, athletic. Very kind of like bolshy, and what's the other word I was looking for? There was a word that just came to my head, but I've forgotten. But yes, and also just really fun to play, because we actually properly acted out those scenes, those audio, like those, like, you were like all the ducking and all the, and obviously Jacob is just, he's awesome as well. Like, he's so just naturally and effortlessly talented. It's unreal. So to play off of him, and then we were really lucky to actually be able to go and record in the studio.
Because I was going to ask, because I know they did a lot, like David Tennant in a shoe cupboard and stuff.
Shoe cupboard,
pandemics, to the fact that you got to be together is
in
brilliant.
The studio.
Yeah, it was so good, because I think we were just really lucky, because I did ask, I remember when we were in conversation, I said, look, it would be awesome if we could go in, because it's really intense, and to be able to have everyone around you, it would be really cool, even if it's just for the main scenes, because me and Jake, obviously Jake, were kind of in the scenes, a lot of the scenes together. So even if it's just getting me and him in, you know, for a while, that would be cool. And then I think it was a week before they just announced that the studio was going to open with obviously all the restrictions. So they just booked the studio and they were like, right, we can have 3 people in.
Awesome.
We'll just rotate everyone and just work the schedule around that. So yeah, it was really good that we were able to go in and actually record together.
And there's quite a good twist in the latter part of the story, isn't there? Which was quite a nice acting challenge for you.
I don't know whether shall I say, because people might not have listened to it. That's why I didn't want. Did you notice I skirted around the elevator pitch a bit, because I thought I don't know whether people have actually I don't know whether people half delved into it and don't really know what's going on. I don't want to give too many details away. But,
we could say what we normally do at this point, isn't it? Which is that you know, if you haven't listened to it yet, go away, listen to it, because it is fantastically awesome.
And then come back.
Yeah, exactly. Press pause now. Don't lose the podcast.
Go
listen to the Timejacked and come back here right now, because I would love to talk about it. So in fact, we should, because we get, I think what Geoff's alluding to is the fact we get 2 Keira Sandstroms. Which is pretty cool. And I love the way that was done, because we get the setup in the first story that there are these kind of inferior copies from some sort of weird sci-fi accident sort of thing. And they're all like, I don't know, I got it's weird when you can't have visuals, because you can interpret these things however you want. And I was listening to it in the car, and I just had this idea of all these like zombie types coming shuffling around, because the audio soundscape on that is really freaky. And I'm thinking, and the trouble is, as you drive, and I live way out in the country. This is Wiltshire. That's why my Wi-Fi is so bad, right? Because I'm in Wiltshire down here, and there ain't much going on, right, between each one farm and another. So I'm driving around these little country lanes, and I'm thinking all these zombies is coming at me from all over the place. Anyway, I sort of digress, but then of course later on we get this thing that there's suddenly 2 of them, two Keira Sandstroms now, and it's brilliantly done. I won't give away the whole conceit, but it's fabulous.
Because it was like, you know, which, you know, who's the real one, and you know, and stuff like that, and you know, who's got all the memories and things. It came quite, you know, quite deep really in a way, didn't it? It was really interesting.
It was, and I think so for me, like how I approached it. So obviously when we were given the scripts and I was prepping for them, I remember thinking, oh, okay, I'm going through them all, I'm marking, I'm making my notes and everything. And it's when I got to that bit as well, and I was like, oh,
did they not tell you in advance?
Well, I don't think they did. I think they actually, in a nice way, they wanted me to just read it and explore it for myself, right? Which was cool. So they didn't. I think they just were like, here are the scripts, go and read them. If you have any questions, and then we can bounce off of that. They kind of just allowed you to read it fresh, which was cool for me. But when I did read it, I was just like, oh wow, this is going to be. And I just thought, how are we going to record this? Like what? And then like things started going for me. I was like, oh, how am I going to play this? Because they've got to be kind of similar but slightly different. What are they going to add? You know, what? You know, like one of them's in one place and one of them's in another. So you kind of like mentally, so you've got to kind of let that happen. Oh, there's going to be something I was going to say about it. Oh yeah, but for me, it was just more. It was more just fun. Like it was just a really cool challenge to be able to play to them, and getting on a bit of a deeper level. What was really cool is just how it was kind of like that whole thing about like not being meta, but being like kind of seeing yourself, like stepping outside of yourself and seeing yourself, and either seeing like the good and the bad bits of yourself from a different kind of angle. So I think that's how I approached it when I did it, and when we recorded. So yeah.
Go on. Sorry, Paul. Yeah, I was going to say it was great. I really enjoyed it, and you know, sometimes you think, oh, someone's, you know, impersonating, you know, another actor here, but Jacob Dublin does such a good job. And I said to you, Paul,
so good.
Got his, you know, his 12th Doctor was his best one he'd done, and you know, there's the really odd bit where you're like, oh yeah, kind of. You don't get taken out of it, but you know you remember. He was so good with, you know, the inflection on the voice and you know the kind of delivery on it. He did a really good job. I bet it's weird in the studio seeing that, you know, his face with that voice coming out of it.
Oh, 100%. But again, like it was just so natural. Like when we took breaks, obviously we were just chatting as normal. And then when we kind of like got back into it again, it was just kind of like. He's just got a zone, and he just knows how to work his voice. And the fact that he's so young, I mean, I think he's just early 20s, isn't he, Joe?
Yeah, I'm jealous.
You know, he's got his whole kind of career ahead of him, and this is just the start. And obviously he's on that Netflix show as well, isn't it? Is it The Stranger?
Oh, is he?
The Stranger. Yeah, there's a Netflix show that he's on. He plays a son in one of those as well. So he's got he's got like kind of that whole rounded experience, you know, and he's really.
He was discovered through YouTube, I think. He'd done you know, his Matt Smith impression of one of his monologues from something, you know, from the episode. And then he got picked up by Big Finish, and you know, he's done various things, and it's, you know, it's a brilliant story, really, you know, and it's led to a proper career for him, you know. It's quite amazing.
And again, he's really down to earth. Just I've been so lucky to work with so many people who are just really, really down to earth, even though they're so talented. And he's definitely one of them. So we had a lot of good fun chats about, you know, what he wants to be doing in his career, and you know, like how
Can I just, because I'm not going to let you get away with this one. 2 Keira Sandstroms, right?
Okay. Yes. Let's
So
go back.
I have to say, one thing I really enjoyed about this. You can tell me a bit more about the thought process of that. Go on it, but because I mean, I talk to myself anyway all the time, and there are many different versions of me. But what I really liked about this was the fact that they actually, in a way, they didn't sound very different, and I mean that in a good way, right? Because it's the same person, and yet you got very clearly that who was Keira 1 and who was Keira 2, and it just, I mean, honestly, I think the acting chops to pull that off in an audio format as well, so you don't even have the visual to reference that. You can just pick it. Okay, maybe 1 or 2 bits I had to really think a little bit more, but actually no, for 99% of the time I could tell who was who, and it was. It was so well done, Bhav. Honestly, I have to give you massive congrats.
Well,
for that,
thank you, and I have to give the congrats back to everybody behind the scenes as well, because it all kind of comes from the production, and it comes from the script, and you know, it comes from the way that it's been thought out. But the way I recorded it, and I remember actually very, very visually, the way, or just kind of remember the way that we recorded it was I was literally doing my lines one after the other. So it was kind of like flip. But actually that worked really well for me. I think we might have done, did we do it? I think we did actually try doing it kind of broken down, and then in the end I was like, do you know what, it'd be really cool just to keep flipping, because it's like you're because they were kind of talking to each other, responding to each other, and it worked really well. So we ended up recording like that, which was a bit of a mind boggle at the end of it, because you're like, where am I? And then you go back to the normal scenes, you're like, which Keira am I? But I think it really paid off in the end, because like you said, you had that real kind of emotional, you know, it's almost like you have your soul kind of sucked out of you. You get to see your whole life, and then it comes back in again, and you're like, oh, I'm a different person. And it's that kind of feeling, I think, that kind of transcending feeling. So it's really good.
Because what I liked as well, because obviously Keira goes on a bit of a character journey anyway, doesn't she? So she starts off really bolshy, quite arrogant, and you know, quite willing to point the gun at the Doctor and bundle him into TARDIS and take him off somewhere to sort something out. And she stays like that quite a way through, and then there's a few pivot points where we start to understand a bit more about the mistake she's made, and how she then starts to feel the consequences of this. And then by the time we get Keira 2, she's a Keira who hasn't actually been through that journey. So she's back to being the bolshy kind of, you know, more arrogant. So then we have a little kind of conflict, but then we get moments where you're actually saying the same response to the Doctor back, but in 2 different ways. So which again, I think is great, and I like the way they're sort of overlaid. So you say Keira, and you're like, yes, or whatever it is, but it's a different inflection each time, you know, overlaid each other. Brilliant.
It was definitely fun, and also I think what the other kind of great thing about that is that you get to kind of like actually play out the different parts of a character like that. You obviously you get to play it out when you're in different scenes with different people, but because she's very much in the scene with the Doctor, it's a really good way of playing out her other half without you know, without seeing that. And also just the one part of Keira that I really, really loved is those moments when she really became like the student of the Doctor. Like, you know, she kind of like, oh, okay, all right, okay. And, you know, when she starts slowly realizing her mistakes, and, you know, I just think it's the fact that she was set up to be so kind of like out there to begin with, and then she kind of slowly breaks down, and then kind of has that again at the end, but in a different way. Just really nice arc.
To be the hero.
So will we see, or hear, I should say, will we hear Keira again? Now, I appreciate you might not be able to say anything, so you could do a head gesture.
And nobody would know. I'll be honest. I'll be honest, I don't know the answer to that.
Mm.
I'm hoping that there will be. It's a really nice relationship and it's
Yeah,
a good
yeah.
story. And I think that it could continue. It ended really nicely in the
Mm,
sense that, it could continue. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, if I hear anything, then I will let you know. No, I'm
let
joking.
us know.
But like, I
We
just
have an exclusive.
yeah, and I think no, but yeah, my honest response is I don't
Yeah,
know. But do I want to definitely play her again? Yes, like yeah,
yeah,
I think it was
yeah.
one of the most fun things that
Was that?
we've done.
And out of
So
those, they call them the Chronicles sets normally, where Jacob has done the the Doctor role.
yeah,
And as far as I remember, and you might know, Paul, they've had like some of the other cast members from the show reprising their characters, and then it's usually like been a one-off. So I think Timejacked is the only one that's had an original companion that was in that whole,
Oh, right.
the whole story.
yeah,
And obviously, Big Finish have got a number of things with original companions like Charlie Pollard and stuff like that who recur across different stories. So yeah, hopefully we might get some more Keira. Maybe we should start a tweet campaign going.
I was thinking that, guys, you want to just start a little campaign on that?
Hashtag more Keira. Yeah.
Bring Keira back.
Yeah.
I think we will. I mean, Big Finish seems to be quite good like that. I think they quite easily recognise the strength and the potential within certain characters, and they have the universe and the kind of skill to decide where they're going to go with something if they like it. And I think they're really good to the fans as well, because they come from a sort of fanish, geeky background like the rest of us as well. So I think I think we'll see more Keira Sanstrom. I really do. But and also because it seems like there was a lot of chemistry there as well. Really good relationship. We got sense of the banter between you and Jacob as well as the Doctor and Keira. It's great fun.
So we've got a question here, and half of it is a tweet from a listener as well. So, Big Finish lunches are legendary.
I was wondering when that was going to come up.
Mr. _G Ward, who goes by Robot of Death, he wants to know what's in them that gets this far.
Sausage rolls.
Okay, so wait, hold on. I don't know whether I'm going to be a complete letdown here, but I obviously, because when we went in, it was COVID. It was high time kind of like COVID. So it was literally just, we were kind of almost organizing our own lunches and staying away from each other whilst, so I wasn't even able to experience it. So I've seen pictures, but it is basically from what I know, it is just a plethora of like you said, sausage roll, like everything you can imagine that you would have at home is just on a buffet. Like I think that's I think that's probably the best way of describing it. So yes, if you're going to call back Keira, please do so I can go in and have a Big Finish lunch.
I was going to say, we need to get you back as Keira so you can, so we can vicariously experience a Big Finish lunch.
Or you can just stuff some in your pockets and bring it out to us.
Bring it back. And that's the thing. Apparently, it's so there's so much that it literally just lasts everyone the whole day. So and like fresh stuff as well. Like I think that's the big thing. So I'm still yet to experience it. So sorry, I can't answer that question.
Big Finish lunch is it literally is legendary.
It is legendary. Of course, it might not actually exist. You never know. Could just be a legend, and there is no Big Finish lunch. Everyone has to take in their own Tupperware.
Exactly. But I do remember actually, funnily enough, when we had our message from just the agents when we were just sorting out like how everything's going to be done, they did actually write at the bottom, "Sorry guys, there will be no lunch because of this," and we were like, "Oh no,
I'm not doing it."
Exactly, that's it. I'm done. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure. I feel like nobody has ever topped it. Like I don't think anybody has ever topped the lunch because it just. So yeah. But yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I can't answer that question.
No, that's all right. So I understand you're off to the States for something exciting.
Yes, I am. I'm off to LA, and that's going to be that's obviously we're basically going for the Glastonbury one in the in LA, which is going to be really, really cool. I'm really, really excited because actually it's the second time I'm going to LA, so this will be good fun. And every time I've been, like it's been like it's just been really fun. Like just going out there it's just really fun. So obviously I'm a bit nervous, like actually flying now in COVID times, but I think it's going to be really good, and there's loads of people going. There's loads of really good kind of guests going. Obviously Mandip's going.
Oh, brilliant.
Quite a few people from the recent series and stuff. So yeah.
So that's Gallifrey 1, isn't it? Where does it take place?
LAX. I think it's very, very close to the airport, actually, because again, I think I don't know whether that was as if that's a tradition or if that's something to just do. It might just be to do with COVID, because of not keeping everybody, like having everyone spread out into the middle of LA. But yeah, so it's literally kind of go in, do what you do the weekend, and then kind of come back home again. So
I was going to say, if you get a chance, you must go visit Santa Monica Pier and 3rd Street Promenade and stuff.
So I did get to see a little bit of LA when I went a couple of years ago. Actually, it was more than 2 years ago now. Which was really nice. We did all the stuff, like we did all the fun tourist things. We did all, like, Sunset Boulevard, and then we did the Hollywood Hills, and we did like loads of things in a couple of days. But yeah, this time around I think it's going to be a quick trip, and it's going to be a nice one to kind of meet up with everyone again.
It's going to be really good.
It's pretty cool, isn't it? Yeah, because I guess, like you were saying, it was a while ago since you were filming Flux, wasn't it? I suppose. Because I know we've only just kind of finished watching it a few weeks back, but for you guys, it's almost a year ago. No, not quite, is it? But
last year, I guess.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. I think it was. Was it this? No, was it this year? No, was it this year? I feel like it was the beginning of this year. It was when we were, I think, back in lockdown. But you know what? I'm not going to lie. The last 2 years, I can't pin any dates down for the life of me. I'm like, it happened at some point.
And also, this year is only 4 weeks old, or 3 weeks old, so it was definitely last year.
Sorry, it was definitely last year. But as in, at what point? I don't. Sorry, that's what I was going to say. Either it was at the beginning of last year, or it was more kind of coming towards the spring. I feel like it was April time last year. So but yeah, so it would be really nice to see everybody again, and just kind of take a trip out and get to see people in kind of that space, if that makes sense, in the US, and how they obviously respond to Doctor Who and what they enjoy about it. So yeah,
I think this will be quite massive, isn't it? I think those things they're quite big events. Like, I think people really go for it. I say somebody who's never been to any of those sort of things at all. So you've been there.
And I think as well, that's probably one of the reasons. I don't know whether, like, kind of strategically they put it by LAX so that people can come and fly in from different places, and they literally can just spend a couple of days there and then leave again, and it's all good. So that's
brilliant. So what else are you working on for the start of this year, first half of this year, I guess?
What else am I working on? So I've hopefully got some that I can tell you about. But obviously, I'm still kind of like recurring, or picking up the kind of recurring roles of my kind of Apple IVR and Calm and a few bits and bobs that are going to be on TV, which is cool. I've been working on just generally doing kind of like online content, so like commercials and things like that, which is something else that I do. I've been doing a bit of presenting for really cool job, actually. I've been doing some presenting for basically it's a kind of a make finance call kind of thing.
Ooh, so is that even possible?
Yeah, so basically it's called Zeros TV, and it's really cool, and it's about kind of like bringing on these kind of Wall Street, kind of like big studs, as it were, like the people who basically have the knowledge of money, and then taking kind of their ideas about kind of hedge funds and all this kind of stuff, and like diluting it down into this kind of like fun, cool way of making money accessible. So I've been doing that, and I've been learning so much about how money works, and it's really cool. So that's obviously something else going on in that.
We're always learning every day.
Always learning every day. And what else have I got to do? Yes, as I said, I've got hopefully some video games lined up this year, which is going to be really cool. And then also just don't know as well.
That's one of the things with this sort of work, isn't it? It could all change next week. You just
exactly
don't know.
Exactly.
So we've got some questions from fans and Twitter followers in a minute. But
yes,
I've got one question.
Oh.
Yes.
Sort of two before that.
3 or 4 or 5.
17.
That you might not be able to answer, but Paul and I we're heading for.
Hey, don't drag me into this.
No, we're heading for heartbreak with the end of Jodie's era, and all of this finishing. You think we're joking, Bhav? We're not. We're
2 grown men literally weeping.
Yeah,
I am too, because I literally feel like when people do ask me, little side note, when people say who's your favorite Doctor, obviously before being in Doctor Who, my answer might have been different, but I will always say Jodie now because of how close, you know, you've been to everybody, and you know, and it's kind of like a piece of you, I suppose. But yes, please ask your question.
My question is, will we see Sonya before this era is out? And you can do a head nod on.
Will we see her? Oh, we don't know.
You don't know.
I don't know why I'm talking in third person. Is that third person? Yeah, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know.
Is that what they do in the hypnosis when they are telling you secretive about these things?
We
do
know.
not know.
We do not
will
know.
obey me.
The BBC snipers are at the door, you know.
But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know.
So we've got a little while.
That's what I'm going to go with.
I just don't know.
I just don't know. Like everything for the last 2 years. I don't know.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So we've got a couple of questions here, and you kind of touched on this earlier, but let Yonachi lead, who's at Goddess YK13. We always get difficult to pronounce Twitter names, don't we, Paul?
We do. I struggle completely, but Geoff is a real pro at doing this. So
unless they've got underscores
all the time.
Well, in fact,
underscores. We love underscores.
Let me check my cheat sheet. There's one with an underscore. Brilliant. So Yonachi asks, how does it feel to have worked with Jodie and Mandip?
Oh, awesome. Yeah. Kind of like I said before, you know, they're just kind of like friends for life, it feels. So yeah, it was really, really great because, you know, obviously Jodie and Mandip had worked together probably quite a bit before I joined and come on set or whatever. And, you know, they're just so welcoming as a pair, and it can be really intimidating, obviously, because you're going onto a big set with big names. And it's your first time, you know, going onto a big set like that. But they literally it's just kind of like doors open, welcome. You know, what can we do to make you kind of feel kind of happy and comfortable? So yeah, I couldn't have asked for a better experience for kind of like, you know, one of my first big TV roles. So
they do seem like they're genuinely, you know, really...
Those two together, they could start their own comedy show. I really they just
spar really well, don't they?
I'd like to see them in something else again, you know, afterwards, and that, you know, they should bring you back in, and John, Fat Mozzers carry on this era, really. You know?
And I do really hope that, you know, they'll get to, but I'm sure they'll both move on to, like, you know, weird and wonderful things as well in their own careers. So
really nice. So Time Vortex, who is at Erin2UU, asks, do you have any funny on-set stories? And we can take that from not just from Who, but from anything.
From anything. Oh, okay. Do I have any funny on-set stories? Not like crazily funny. I wish something more funny would have happened. Not really. I mean, they're funny to me, but are they funny to other people? But I mean, I do remember just kind of just this last shoot gone. John had come in, so John Bishop, he'd come in to do something for himself, and just him in himself is just hilarious. Me, Jodie, and Mandip were sitting, we're having a bit of a break, and we were just chatting and catching up. And John was like, "Oh, I'm kind of in early, so I thought I'd just come and sit with you ladies." And he literally just started talking about his life and what he's been up to, and it was just great because he's just such a character, and he's just so funny in himself. That was great. Like, literally, I remember us being in hysterical fits of laughter. Could not remember for the life of me of what he was talking about. But he's just so, like, he was talking about the most mundane things, I think, about going home and, you know, doing things at home and doing whatever. And it was just, so that was kind of like a nice little funny moment. But I don't think anything crazily funny happened.
If you're like me, probably when I'm out shooting, you know, every day you know, is good fun, and you have something that, you know, you laugh, but it's nothing kind of, I was going to say, nothing major. You know, it's not like, you know, something you don't remember it necessarily. You just know I had a good time on that shoot, you know, and that's kind of, you know, the best thing really with it.
The one other funny thing actually is, so it's not a funny thing, but, you know, do you remember the scene that me and Yaz did when I was talking about the Russians, and I think it was season, it was a previous season episode. I'm trying to remember the episode, but we were talking about how I just basically couldn't hold down a job. and we were both eating that curry together. That was a bit of a funny story because we had to keep resetting and making sure we were eating, because obviously if you choose to eat, and obviously it's got to stay consistent. And it was really funny because we were just kind of like eating and then being like, don't put too much in your mouth because you are literally gonna have to commit to eating to that, So and then you were kind of like trying to reshape your food again, because it was real food. We were actually eating proper like curry and rice. It was really nice, but it was just being really cautious about it. And I think both of us were being a bit like, okay, I'm just gonna try not to eat too much, but then obviously you don't want to look too unnatural. So yeah, that was a kind of a little funny moment. Oh, there was another moment as well where when we went out to the hills of do you remember when we shot out when we did the when Yaz was having the nightmare, and well basically where we shot out there was just obviously a lot of sheep on the field. Yeah, not sheep, Spav, sheep. A lot of sheep on the field, and obviously we were trying to get shots where we couldn't see the sheep, and obviously they just kept coming in. Sometimes they just come into the shot.
Sheep do. That's their thing.
Sheep do. Yeah. And so yeah, there was little moments like that. But like you said, there's nothing like incredibly funny I can remember. It was just small moments that make the day kind of so much more fun. So yeah.
So Mrs. McCrimmon, who is at Mrs. J. McCrimmon, she says, thanks for bringing Sonya to life. Your performance is fantastic and has made her a fan favourite. I hope we see you again before the end. Do you think Sonya and Ryan are loved up back on Earth now?
Oh.
I think they're cute, but Sonya would eat him alive, she says.
Oh, I agree. I think Sonya would eat anybody alive, to be honest.
I think so.
Yeah, I was interested myself to see how that relationship developed. I feel like she wasn't, and again, maybe if COVID didn't happen, maybe I mean, obviously, I don't know the details, but things might have been written in a bit of a different way, and I don't know. But I feel like there was something there. So there's I don't know. Are they loved up back on Earth now? Let's give the people what they want and say yes.
Yes, let's go with that. That'll do for me. Yes, they are.
Yes, they are. They've settled down. They've started a family. They're
They're fighting crime and all sorts.
But I do think it is kind of it was kind of a funny, cute, kind of flirtatious relationship that they had. So yeah, it was good. It was good.
Orinoco McGee, who is at Deadly Night, says, does Sonya know about Yaz's intergalactic crush? Surely she must know about her secret.
Well, it's never really fully exposed, is it? It's never really said, but again, I feel like that's a yes.
Right.
I think so.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a yes. This is the thing. I honestly think, I've always obviously being part of Doctor Who, I have my kind of weird and wonderful own imagination, and I always think to myself, like I've always had this. There was a point at which we made up a funny story about Sonya. Like, I think we were just on set and we were like, she is actually some kind of, everyone thinks she's really lazy and she doesn't want to, do this and that. But she's like probably some boss of some underground, like, like online, like, I don't know, just not kind of like, bad or anything, but just like a business. She's probably like a head of a business somewhere. Nobody knows about it. And I think it's the same with this as well. I feel like there was a point at which they could have exposed that Sonya knew everything that Yaz was doing, and it was it feels like they know everything about each other. They just kind of don't want to kind of put each other in harm's way or whatever it were. So actually, I do feel like I do. Yes.
Yeah, that's a good.
I'll go with that. Yeah.
So I like that idea about Sonya's secret life.
Yes.
We should write that for Big Finish, Jeff.
Yeah.
All three of us.
Bring the Khans back. Just bring the Khans back.
Do that.
And then we can really explore each of their lives.
Really get into it
separately and like what they're actually really
because
up to.
The dad was paranoid, wasn't he, about stuff? And is that right? Conspiracy theory. So
yes.
And with his rubbish in the Spider story, all the garbage piling up and all that.
And you can almost imagine like he'd be walking into some kind of like backyard shed and he'd have like this whole conspiracy thing set up.
Yes, he would.
And there's Yaz in another shed with a business.
Yeah.
And like, Sonya. And
Sonya.
And then you think that Yaz had the most, coolest secret there, and she really doesn't. So I mean, I think there's lots to be explored. So
Sonya's secret society. or something.
Yes.
There you go.
There we go. Sonya Secret Society, the SSS.
Yeah, you can have that one for free. That's fine.
Perfect. Taken. I'll get writing this evening.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
We know you've got to go now, but
I do. I apologise.
Yeah,
I wish I could have stayed longer. I've got an early start tomorrow.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fine. But thank you so much for joining us. This has been really great chatting with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for sparing us your time, your valuable time. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on, and just thank you for everyone who's listening as well. And I hope to bring more of my stuff and my work kind of like your way, and hope you enjoy it as well. So
remind everyone of your Twitter handle before we go.
Twitter handle is at Bhavnisha Parmar. I was just about to say, actually, my Instagram is what I use more. So again, that's the same one. It's at Bhavnisha.
What?
Instagram.
Insta, what is it? I don't know anything. Instagram.
That one.
My name is.
You are quite active on there, actually, aren't you?
I am. I'm a lot more active on my Instagram than I am on my Twitter, to be honest. But the Twitter handle is they're pretty much the same. If you just search, the quicker way to find me on Twitter is at Bhavnisha P, because I basically just cut off the Palmer in the end because it was just too much. So I just put Bhavnisha P. At Bhavnisha P on Twitter and at Bhavnisha_Parmar on Instagram.
We'll stick it on these tweets.
If you're listening, you're not following.
That'd be the easy way. There's Geoff asking Bhav to kind of spell it all out, and actually we just put a caption on at the end of it. That's it.
Yeah, just a link, and then that's it. Bang, you're there.
Tag you in all the stuff.
All right,
exactly.
Technology, mate. I'm disappointed, Geoff, frankly.
Jeff just likes reading things out, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does do
that.
The more underscores, the better.
Exactly.
It allows him to emote,
But thank you guys. I really appreciate it.
It's been lovely talking to you, Bhav. Really
lovely as well.
And a lot of fun.
Have a wicked rest of the week.
You too.
Have a good Friday.
It's Friday tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yes, it is. Yeah. So have a good weekend, and keep yourself safe and healthy.
Yes, and
you too, Bhav.
Awesome.
This year.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Speak to you guys soon.
Bye. Bye now. Bye.